I'm gonna try and do something today that I wasn't able to do 2 days ago. So let's get ready and see if we can do it. What I'm talking about here isn't anything hard or something that anyone can do. It's actually something that's very easy and a lot of people do very regularly. I wasn't able to run, and a reason for that is because I have somewhat of an injury, and I made it about 500 feet. I was feeling some discomfort in my knee, and usually I'm the type of person to just push past and go and do it anyways. But this time I realized I got to think long term, and this injury isn't actually worth me risking potential long term injury. So after about 500 feet, I called it quits and I came back home. In my opinion, one of the harder aspects of training is actually avoiding injuries because that's something that's out of your control. You can train smarter, which I might not have been, but the other stuff like putting in the work, going out for a run, going out for a bike, going out for a swim, eating right, getting enough sleep, stretching, that stuff for me is actually easy, where avoiding injuries is actually pretty tough because you can't control that. And my training blocks have typically gone really well, where I go through it and I have really good training blocks. Say for my half marathon, I felt like I had a good training block. My full marathon training block I thought was really good. And the only times I actually got injured was after the actual races. So after my half marathon, I got an IT band issue, which put me out for about 6 months. And then after my full marathon, I had a stress fracture on my foot, which put me out about 4 to 5 months. So a lot of these injuries typically come up after the race days, and it might be because my training blocks, they're a lot more structured and a lot smarter, I guess you could say, where it's progressively overloading, where right now I don't have that smart training block where it's progressively overloading, starting with the donut marathon, doing a lot of volume at one time where my body's not used to. I haven't built up to it. My legs were a little bit sore after, and I might have had a little bit of knee pain, but I continued to go out afterwards, wasn't feeling anything. And then this past weekend, I went out for a half marathon, and it was an easy pace, but I don't think my legs are used to it, and I haven't done that slow build up to it to the point where they're used to being able to run that long. And now I have this lingering knee injury. I don't know where it's at, but it's somewhere in here. But I'm gonna go out and see if I'm able to at least get a little bit of a run in. But injuries are really tough to avoid. So I've already given myself a couple days off here to let my knee rest up and heal a little bit. I don't want to be pushing myself because it's not worth the long-term risk of injuring it. So I'm gonna be going out here. It's gonna be an extremely easy run, probably aiming for 30 to 45 minutes. We'll see if we can hit it. If I am feeling any discomfort, anything in my knee, I'm not gonna push myself because it's not worth the long-term risk. So I'm gonna be heading out here, hopefully be able to get that in. I do have another injury that I will be talking about after if I'm able to get this run in, but injuries right now, I was debating on whether or not to document this or talk about it, but this is documenting the process of me training for my Ironman, and this is something that's happening. So I'm gonna be trying to go out for a run, gonna have a banana. I started eating just small stuff before to try and get my body adapted to actually having food in my system when I'm out there, because during the Ironman, I'm gonna actually have to take supplements. I'm assuming I just bought some supplements that I will be making some stuff about and starting to incorporate more in my diet and during my training, and I'll get into that in a different video as to why I'm actually doing that. But I'm gonna have a little bit of a banana, and then hopefully I'll be able to get this run in and not experience any pain in my knee. I'm about 2.5 miles in right now, and fortunately I haven't been feeling really any pain or discomfort in my knee, so we'll see if we finish that way too. Well, the good news about that run, I didn't feel any discomfort, pain, or anything in my knee. And when I was running, it's kind of surprising the pace that I was running at. I was trying to go as slow and smooth and easy as possible, but it turns out I was going at my normal, regular, fairly regular, easy pace, which is 9 minutes per mile. And honestly, it felt a little bit slower, so I was a little bit surprised by that. But other than that, it's good that I didn't experience any of that pain or discomfort. So it's good to give if you're feeling a pain or anything, just to give some days for rest and recovery, just because you don't want to push yourself. And I think that the lesson that I learned there is progressive overload. You don't want to just go from here to there. You want to go like here to here to here to here and slowly work your way up. And that brings me into my other injury that it's just been lingering. It's nothing crazy, and it doesn't seem like, I don't think it's from, so it's in my elbow. And I don't think it's from swimming, but it might be because there was that jump in volume and I started using the paddles as well. So it might be from that, but I'm thinking it's from this desk potentially, or the handstand push-ups or the push-ups, just because this isn't my normal regular ergonomic desk. So it's a little bit different than my normal desk, and the way I'm sitting, it's angled a little bit weird. I'm moving the mouse all the time. So I'm thinking it's from that. It doesn't really hurt when I'm swimming. Maybe for the first few laps, I'll notice it. It's not a pain or anything. It's just kind of a lingering thing, lingering feeling, I guess you could say. So other than that in my elbow, I'm not too sure what's going on with my elbow, and it seems like it might be from the desk. I'm not too sure exactly what it's from, but injuries is kind of the topic that you don't really like to talk about and you want to avoid best as you can. And it's one of the uncontrollables, but there are controllables that you can control to help prevent injuries. So one of the controllables that I necessarily wasn't controlling fairly well is the actual progressive overload. And you want to slowly build your way up. You want to say, maybe you're starting at 2. You don't want to go from 2 to 10 to 20. You want to slowly build your way up there. You want to go like 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, and slowly build your way up. And this is over each run and then over each week. So it's not just going from 1 week you're at a total of 10 miles, the next week you're at a total of 40. You want to slowly build your way up, and that's kind of the issue that I was doing, where I wasn't doing that little. I was doing a decent amount, say maybe 5 to 7 miles per run, but then all of a sudden I jumped up to 13 miles, and then it wasn't even at a easy pace. It was at a fairly hard pace for the donut marathon. And then the following week I continued my same schedule where I maybe did 3 5-mile runs, and then on the last run I decided to jump to 13. So there's no progressive overload where I'm slowly building my way up, and that's something that you can control that I wasn't controlling fairly well to help prevent injuries. And that's one area that I need to focus on a little bit better, is working with that progressive overload, not just jumping up really high because I once was able to do this. I'm realizing now my legs aren't conditioned to be able to do that because I haven't been running long enough to be able to get back up to say 13, 15, 20 miles. Whereas before I would be able to do that fairly easily. I would be sore afterwards, but I wouldn't be injured is the main point. Another area for controllables that I believe I've done a really good job once I moved to Tucson is sleep. I think I prioritized this a lot more, and I think I gained maybe an extra hour or 2 onto my actual sleep because I started prioritizing this a lot more. And this is a big area where you're recovering a lot. You're able to perform a lot better because you get better sleep. So this is one area that I think helps decrease the likelihood of actually getting injured. When you do get proper sleep, your body's more recovered and it's just better prepared to be able to take on the day, take on all the stress that it's going to be enduring from all the running, biking, swimming, whatever it might be. So this is another area that I believe I started doing a lot better. And one that I did ironically way back in college because I was experiencing some back pain when I was working out and sitting down a lot. I thought the only way around it was to start stretching. And to this day, I've continued doing that every single day. And that's helped mitigate probably a lot of potential injuries that I could have had if I otherwise wasn't doing it. So I think stretching has been a huge impact on help mitigating any potential injuries that I could have had as well. And then I think there's a lot of other ones that you could include, such as physical therapy, massage, chiro, working out, cold baths, sauna, red light exposure. Maybe I'm missing some. If I am, feel free to let me know in the comments below. But I think the last one is diet and nutrition. And this is an area that I think I've excelled pretty good at, where I've tried to make sure that I'm getting enough calories in. You don't want to be under fueling yourself with the amount of calories that you're taking in on the day, and then your body is not able to replenish all the stuff that it's breaking down. and not just getting enough calories in, getting the proper calories in, where you're getting enough micro, enough macronutrients in. And I think this is an area that, and it's kind of ironic that I say this stuff while I'm making pancakes, but I'm making pancakes because I need some more fuel. But this is an area that I think I've done pretty well in, and getting enough nutrients, getting enough micro, macronutrients, and getting enough calories in. And if you aren't getting enough in, your muscles are not going to be able to take from anything, and it's just going to take from itself, and then it's going to keep burning down, and it's not going to be able to recover properly, and you're just going to keep wearing and tearing on it. And I think this is a huge area that potentially a lot of people, once I started getting into this industry or Ironman training, ultras, whatever you want to call it, I noticed a lot of people, they just don't necessarily focus that much on it. Like, they'll eat kind of whatever. They're just like high sugar intake, and I've kind of done that with, say, honey and maple syrup. But for the most part, I'm trying to get whole and natural foods and making sure that it's not processed, that it's real, and it's coming from good backgrounds, say like grass-fed. You don't want to be injecting antibiotics into, say, cows or chickens, whatever it might be. So I'm trying to get the best possible food for myself, because they say you are what you eat. So I'm trying to eat the best possible foods, and I think this is an area that also helps aid in preventing injuries. Well, that was a day training for me, and just something that I thought I would document and share the process, because that's kind of what I'm trying to do here. And it was something that occurred and something that was happening. So I thought I would document a little bit of the injuries that have happened. Luckily, the knee's not too bad. Didn't feel anything on the run today, and kind of go over like a standard day, I guess you could call it. And today wasn't anything too crazy, just 45-minute run, 45-minute swim. Not sure how long I was in the pool. I learned how to pause while swimming, so now I'm pausing my workouts while I swim. Makes my time look faster, so gonna probably continue to do that. But I think this was just a good indicator for me to control what you can control, because you can't really control whether you get injured or not, but you can control the different aspects and areas that can lead to you getting injured. And for me, I think the biggest learning lesson that I had here is not going from point A to point Z. I gotta slowly build my way up to get to that point, to be able to actually have my body be able to withstand going for these longer runs. Because during my marathon training, doing what I just did was really easy, but I'm not currently there. Maybe my heart and lungs are, but my legs aren't, because I'm coming off an injury right now, and I still got to build that way up. So whether that's daily, weekly, monthly, I got to make sure I'm slowly building up and working my way up to a higher volume. I can't just jump from here to way up there. So that's the biggest lesson that I've learned, and I got to start focusing on the controllables with the injuries, because injuries just suck. Don't want injuries to happen, and you can't really control it, but you can control some of the controllables. So I'm just gonna continue focusing on that and making sure that I like to push myself a lot, and I gotta make sure I'm taking it. I gotta train smart is basically what it comes down to. So that's the main thing that I need to start focusing on a little bit more. So that's kind of day training, nothing too crazy. And then also something that is going on with the process, and something that I guess I'm learning a little bit in the process. So thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this, and we'll catch you in the next one.